Unlocking marital bliss.
Hey, once again, good afternoon. It's a pleasure to have you right here. Cyrus Road is my name, and you're watching Unlocking Marital Bliss. It's during this lockdown, undergoing a pandemic. So much is happening. But I want you to understand and I want you to know that irrespective of what is going on, you can still make it as a man, as a husband. In the past, we had the Unlocking Marital Bliss, the women edition, and we could reach out and try to hear and listen to what a woman has to say. And so there was humongous feedback. Talk about going all the way across the globe. Humongous feedback. And in the same way, we are here and we are ready for the men's edition. Lockdown. You're staying there at home. What is happening? Are you succeeding? Are you begging? Oh, please, I want to go back to work. I want to do this. Why do you want to go back to work? Are you scared? Are you afraid? What is going on? Can you stay at home and this becomes the best thing that you've ever had? Can you be able to do that? It will totally make a difference. It will make a difference. Tonight, we want to talk about the men staying at home. The men staying at home. How are you handling stuff? And I have a guest that I'm going to be introducing to you in just a minute. Once again, Cyrus Road is my name. You're still watching Unlocking Marital Bliss. I told you I have a guest that is going to break down on this man's edition because so much is happening at home. Some men don't know how to handle. Some men are depressed. Some men have broken down. They don't have money. Seems like everything that defined you as a man is coming to an end. I have a man in the house that is going to help us break this down. How you can survive in this pandemic staying at home, the men's edition. Yes, Unlocking Marital Bliss brings you all realities and all truth. We are here to expose the Word of God, everything that has been hidden, so that you may act upon it and you may have bliss in your marriage. Bliss doesn't stop because you are at home. And tonight, together with me, welcome my usual suspect, Brian Semfuma.
Wow, what an honor to be here. I'm so
Yeah,
glad to be here once
it's been
again.
a while, but
It's been
glad
a
to see
while.
you.
Glad to be here.
Yeah, you're coming in here and you're going to tell us how you men are handling the lockdown as husbands, okay? Handling the lockdown. Because the other time I hosted Winfred Zizinga here, and today I'm going to grill you. So you better be ready to tell our viewers what exactly you have, how you men are handling it, because the last time it seems the only thing you guys are handling is sex. I don't know. And food. Yeah, sex and food. And now we really want to understand. I mean, does it really make sense, you guys? The only thing you can do is sex and food. Is that all you guys can do?
I wouldn't put it that way. I think, let me put it this way.
Okay.
Lockdown is a highlight of the symptoms that have been happening in the marriage. It's
Wow.
not that because of lockdown
That this is happening.
that this is happening. So, for my sake and for the men watching, I need to go deeper.
Yes.
We unlock the underlying things that have been happening
Yes.
so that
Before
we
the lockdown.
before the lockdown, so that
The
we help
lockdown only
reveals the symptoms of what was there already. So that's where the challenge is. And it's not just about food and sex, it's a compilation of a lot of things.
Okay.
Some men have been struggling at work and keeping it a secret. Some were fired long time ago,
Oh my
but they
God.
leave home and go try to sort out what they can do. Some have been indebted, and it's been in the hiding, in the closet.
The
Now,
woman knows nothing.
all of a sudden, you're receiving these phone calls constantly, and your wife is getting bothered. Who is that calling you? And so you have to explain yourself. So sometimes the outburst is anger because you want to cover up. Anger is a face, it's not the exact emotion.
Yeah.
It's a cover up of something that has
Something
been happening within your heart.
The indebtedness.
The indebtedness, the loss of work,
Loss
the
of work.
hustle at work. I don't want to use the word hustle because hustle is like for a slave.
Yeah.
but the challenge is at work.
Yeah. And so all this time you've not had an opportunity to share with your wife.
You actually don't want to talk about it.
So you're trying to avoid the problem.
You're trying to avoid the problem because, in a nutshell, culture has told you a man is a solution bringer. He breeds solutions.
Okay.
He provides. He makes things happen. So in the actual sense, lockdown is a revealer of how I have mastered to resolve conflict. Conflict resolution, lockdown reveals how you've mastered it in your marriage.
In
or
other
in your home
words,
setting.
whereby I don't just avoid.
No, I resolve the issue.
You don't avoid.
Now,
but you know,
remember-
most of you men just keep avoiding these things.
Yeah, it was easy when you leave home in the morning. You go to work in the morning.
Okay.
And come back late in the evening.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, you find people tired. And the expression is, I had a long day. So let's
So you
push
shut
this.
everybody down.
Yeah, and I've noticed some couples have what they call our me time. They've scheduled a day in the week, which for me does not work.
Now, what do you mean by me time
I
in a
mean,
couple's life?
They
What's
they
that?
say, okay, push it to Friday, push it to Saturday. Saturday is when we are here. All of us are here.
What
We'll
is
talk about-
that?
You see, that's what I'm saying. That now
That's
that
dangerous.
exactly now in lockdown you have a lot of me time.
You know, I really believe that there shouldn't even be anything called me time, because when you're married, it just has to flow. Anything that comes up, face it. Anything that comes up, face it. The rest can wait.
Now, Pastor Cyrus, you must have grown up in a different setting altogether.
Come on,
The-
Brian.
the people watching us right now
Uh-huh.
are probably thinking, comes up, deal with it. Comes up, deal with it.
Yeah.
There's something I'm going to talk about later, which is
Okay.
the judgment and understanding.
Okay.
What troubles us, the men, it's not actually the sex and food.
Uh-huh.
It's the judgment and understanding. So
Uh-huh.
sex is like, I am trying to calm my storms by getting this, okay? But it's not the understanding of the whole relationship. Okay, I'll explain it.
Break
Let's
it down.
first go back to the conflicts.
Yes.
Now here I am. I wake up in the morning, go to work, come back in the evening, and we talk less, go to sleep. The cycle goes on
For years.
for years. Now here we are. His Excellency comes on screen and says, for 42 days, you're going to be home. Now these are two different people thinking different things.
Mm-hmm.
My wife could go like, thank you, Your Excellency. Now I have him here.
Uh-huh.
And on my side, I'm thinking, oh boy, where do
I'm
I run
finished.
to? Because remember, the men do this so often and so easily. They avoid conflict. Because we have this thing in us that you'd rather have peace than deal with the issue.
And then even when it's fake peace, because
You
real
have fake
peace will actually come out of a confrontation. And then you're able to face the facts and the truth, the way things are, and then make a decision.
That's right.
Correct?
That's right.
So now when you say, I will avoid it, that means you're running away.
Exactly.
And then you have some false peace.
That's what happens in a typical home. Let me give you a setting of lockdown right now.
Yes, that's what I want.
Because of routine,
Uh-huh.
I wake up and do my exercise.
Yeah.
Okay? Prepare my clothes maybe that day or the day before. Now I'm in lockdown. My wife suddenly says, I'm coming to jog with you. Now I'm showing you how conflict happens for a man.
Uh-huh.
So you start the jogging. Remember, you have your own pace. Maybe 60 kilometers per hour. I'm kidding. Less than that.
Okay.
Now here you are with your wife. She's slower.
Uh-huh.
So you run a bit faster and then you get home. And then the confrontation starts.
Uh-huh.
Why did you leave me? Don't you know that I'm your wife? So because you have a Zoom meeting, you say, I will deal with that later.
Uh-huh.
Remember, we have our storehouses as men.
Oh, God.
So you put it in your storehouse and go for your Zoom meeting. Now, as you're preparing yourself, because you have to look presentable for the Zoom meeting,
Okay.
the child goes to mommy and says, now I'm giving an example of people who have
Yes.
children.
Yes.
help me with my shoes, mommy, or my comb. And mommy is preparing breakfast. She says,
Go to daddy.
Go to daddy. And daddy, because he's upset over the other issue, says, go back to mommy. I have a Zoom meeting. Now, in that moment, your wife comes into the room and says, what kind of man are you? Your child is seeking for help. Now, that's when judgment comes in. So because judgment is like, I've made a verdict about the kind of person you are, and I've not given you chance to redeem yourself.
Yes.
Or what the lawyers say, cross-examination. So the man also develops a defensive cover.
Yeah.
So when after the Zoom meeting, I'm going to deal with that. Now remember, he has two things to deal with. So here you are on the Zoom meeting, your boss goes like, how is your lovely wife?
Beautiful.
And in your mind, you're like, lovely. Okay, she's okay. She's beautiful. We're okay. But in the actual sense, you're thinking, I wish I was out of here. There are even men right now who have gotten stickers for their cars, but they're not
To
going
just
anywhere.
run away.
They're not going anywhere. They are
Now,
avoiding being at home.
But Brian, this is the spirit of a coward. I think most men are cowards. Take a look at this. Take a look at this. You've presented this. I'm used to my way of jogging. You know? My way of what? Of jogging. And usually you've been using your jogging as a getaway.
That's right.
You know?
Yes.
And God looks at you and says, no more. And so how does he set you up? Tells your wife, join into the jogging. And at that point, you're totally disturbed. I go 60 miles an hour.
Yes.
She goes 5 miles an hour. I can't. What is happening? What God is dealing with is, hey, you have been running away because you don't have peace with you. Because when you mentioned conflict, I looked at something like this, that when conflict is going on, it's usually not caused by what my wife has done, but by what I have not done with me. You get me? Because if my wife goes 5 miles an hour and I do 60 miles an hour, you know, it's just an illustration. Yes, 60 miles an hour, and she does 5 miles an hour. If I lose the peace that I have because she's doing 5 miles, I've not been there with her. But when I love her, I will reduce my speed from 60 to 4.
To accommodate.
In order to bring her up, to accommodate her. And that shows I already have peace. That shows I'm at peace. But with most of you men, you know, you're the one representing every one of them here.
That's right.
Most of you guys, you take the hit.
Yes.
So most of you guys, what you do is to sit back. You want to, well, you can do the 60 miles an hour. Stop
Stay
going
home.
with me. Stay home. Do work.
Yes.
There is no time.
Yes.
And that one, most people don't understand, but it reveals that deep inside, I have no peace.
There's a brokenness.
There's,
Let me give you a category of men. I want to use an illustration from the scriptures.
yes,
We remember when Jesus was at the cross,
yes,
he had 2 thieves on either side.
yes,
Now I'm going to say this one here represents each man,
yes,
category of men. Then we have the man in the middle, Jesus Christ.
yes.
Now I'll give an illustration before Jesus gets to the cross. He's carrying the
His
cross.
cross.
Now I'm talking about a man in lockdown, the feeling.
Yes.
You have a man who is like Christ, carrying his own cross to Golgotha. And a certain type of wife is in the crowd saying, I have the best seat at Golgotha. Please carry the cross. I'll find you. I'll watch you at Golgotha. So there's that kind of man. You know, when you're talking to me about the fear, the running from responsibility, it gave me an illustration of the type of man that we are talking about today. That one who carries his own cross.
Yeah.
Now, in lockdown, he feels overwhelmed by the fact I have a spectator wife. And that's a challenge. Then we have this other type of man who says, don't you fear God? For we are thieves, but he has done nothing. Remember me when you go to paradise.
Yes.
And he says, today I'll be with you. That type of man has understood bliss. He has understood that this thing I'm in is not mine. It's God's initiative.
Yes.
It's God's institution.
Yes.
So
I don't own it.
I don't own it. So he easily breaks down. In fact, they've been working together
Yes.
with his wife.
Yes.
They have done businesses together. In fact, maybe they have even opened up businesses right now.
Yes.
So lockdown for them means we can step back, re-energize, plan together, and strategize.
That's true.
Now that's a different type of man.
Yes.
That one is probably okay and saying, keep going.
Yeah.
Now there's this other type of man who says, save yourself and save me.
Save me.
Now that one does not want to touch anything. I've been working. I've been doing my part. Now if Jesus is alive, let him intervene in this whole situation. Me, I'm not going to do anything. Now let me break down that kind of man. That one is a type of man who right now has been clipped. He has been used to earning a certain kind of, amount of money every other day or every month. Now, all of a sudden, he's using his resources. The list is still ongoing. We need this every Saturday. We need food, we need sugar, we need bread. That's the time he starts to notice electricity is being used too much. The lights are being left on. The sugar is used like crazy. The bread I brought yesterday, what happened to it? So he's now raising a certain kind of conflict in a home.
There is no peace.
There is no peace right
in
there.
himself.
So he's thinking, I'm the one spending the money. That's
And
why
all you guys are doing is just take, bringing nothing in.
Now, irrespective of the fact that he's eaten the big chunk, he's drunk the most tea, he's taken the most juice, he's using most of the sugar. But at that moment, because his peace was in his work, or he's out,
Yes.
not in his in.
Yes.
So that type of man says that if you want me to do something for you, you gotta do something for me. That's where the food sex comes in. If you give me sex and food, it's my right. Then I will tap on my resources.
Now, you've given an example of 3 men, categories of men. And then you see the last one that you ended with, the one who loses peace. That's the time he realizes this money is going too fast and all this. And then he says, you do something, I also do something in return. And then there are moments, that's all because he doesn't have peace. And then things really get worse when his resources dry up. Now, how can he do the exchange that he's been carrying on? His resources have dried up.
That brings me to this very crucial point.
Uh-huh.
Because usually as men, you have men that you talk to. Other men. Especially through lockdown, because you are, communicating, making phone calls, seeing what's happening. So that's the time you call someone and say, my wife does not listen to me anymore. I mean, I'm just having the most torrid time in this period. And your friend on the other line will say, I think because you don't have money. That's why she's not listening to you. Because
you don't have money.
Because you don't have money. Because his security, his peace, his calmness, his ability to think through problems
is to make sure there is money.
Has been a result that he has money.
And now that he doesn't have money,
now that he does not have the one thing that gives him an edge,
he finds more fault with the wife.
Remember, when you're working, before lockdown, when you're working as a man, there's some bit of competition. I'm talking about an ordinary man. There's a bit of competition with the woman you stay with. It's an underlying competition. Some people have it, some don't.
Yeah.
Now, for you, Pastor Cyrus, you don't have that competition. I am very sure.
For what?
Some men have this. If my wife is earning 1 million, I should earn 2 million, so that I have an edge over this woman.
Now that is...
Now it comes to this point, the woman, for instance, is a farmer maybe. She's still going out. She has a sticker. She's done bringing in bread. She comes with a bottle of soda. She comes with sugar. Now,
and to you, your 1 million has been reduced to 700,000 because of the condition.
Exactly. Now, there's a problem right there. I feel that everything you say to me is trying to belittle me, even if it's accurate. For instance, a wife could say, are you the one who used the cup that's on the table? Now, before she even finishes the sentence, I already go into defensive mechanism. So because you go out and bring food and things, so you easily talk to me about a cup. I'm the one who used it. Now what are you going to do? Now, that's not the intention of the question. But the response shows the insecurity. I don't have peace. I am so troubled because my security, the finances, have gone down.
Yes.
So the conflict rises up in that moment
Yeah.
because of my insecurities.
Yeah.
So as a man watching us right now,
Yeah.
there are several things that they do usually.
Mm-hmm.
One, distance grows during lockdown.
Now, before you go there,
Mm.
you've mentioned about this man
Mhm.
that comes in, and because he has insecurities, which is the absence of peace,
Yes,
there is no quietness inside his heart.
that's right.
I mean, he was making 1M and then the woman making 2, and then all the time he's in competition.
Yes,
Before we go further, we need to break this man down. This
Okay.
man needs help.
yes.
He's in competition. He makes 2 million, the wife makes 3,
Uh-huh.
and then because the wife makes 3, then he's not willing.
Let's take it a notch down. Let's say the wife makes 700,000, he makes 500 now. For someone who probably thinking, oh,
700 and then 500.
yes,
Now you get up to that point,
yes.
and you are not satisfied. This is because men have been convinced
Uh-huh.
that actually what makes them a man is the money.
That's right.
But nobody deals with the emptiness within.
Who will you
Because-
run to, Pastor Cyrus, for a man? Because when you talk to a man and you show your vulnerability,
Yeah.
the other man, apart from you maybe,
Yeah.
will think, man, grow up. You're a man.
What does a man do? I think, Brian, you need to break this down. What does a man do? Because every time, let me tell you, one thing I know about men, the moment all this, they do something ridiculous, that's when they say, I'm a man. You know, he shows up at 4 a.m. in the morning, and the wife goes, where are you coming from? I'm a man. I'm a man. And then he can't pay the fees and say, I'm a man. He's caught in adultery. I'm a man. So now, here is a man who is having little money, and then his friends are telling him, hey, you're the man. What does this you're the man thing mean?
It's a kind of a cover-up
Thank you.
to not to be able to deal or expose the weaknesses that we have. We
Say
do that
that
so
again.
well. It's a cover-up
Yeah.
so that we do not deal with the weaknesses that we have inside. In fact, let me say this.
Because naturally you avoid
We are in
problems.
avoidance.
You avoid every challenge.
Let me tell you,
You put
for
up a
us,
show.
conflict and a man are not friends.
Now, but then you see, this is where the danger is. Conflict. You keep avoiding it,
Exactly.
but then you don't cure a problem by avoiding it. You need to confront it. That's why you end up living on rooftops.
You can say that again, Pastor Cyrus.
You don't avoid a problem. You don't cure a problem by avoiding it.
But you see, that's what we're taught. That's why I say marriage is a
Yeah.
cultural
The
disruptor.
culture, yes, because you are taught if she starts speaking,
Get out. If you
Go to the
can't beat her up, if you can't,
beat
slap
her up.
some
Can
sense
you
into her,
imagine? Can you imagine?
just walk away. Because if she keeps speaking, she may arouse a certain type of anger within you.
and
see-
yet you can't have self-control.
Exactly.
Poor boy.
The Bible says-
you don't know how to control yourself. So now you're gonna blame her. You made me beat you.
Exactly.
I told you to stop talking. You kept talking.
You see, the Bible says
Oh,
in Proverbs
God.
14:29 that he that is slow to anger
Yeah.
has great understanding. But he whose temper is hastily revealed shows great folly. Now, for a man, we opt for the second bit because we don't want to look weak. The moment that I sit down, when your wife says we need to talk, I go to UPDF right there and get all the tankers, the arsenals, the weapons, and I face them in her like this and say, go ahead.
So rather than talking, you're creating an intimidating scenario.
Exactly.
I mean, she's alone. She don't have tankers. She don't have the katusha. She don't have any of that. And what do? You bring all of them and you face them and you say, let's talk. And you're hiding behind all this.
Now imagine you're in this setting in lockdown. You're rotating in the same house, a 2-bedroomed house, in the same house. You wake up in the you wake up in the morning, and your wife goes like, "What will you have?" Now that's contentious enough. Don't you know me? How long have we been married?
Now, you know, that's where the whole challenge is. Let's take a break and we'll be right back very quickly. Cyrus Rod, you're still watching Unlocking Marital Bliss.
Unlocking Marital Bliss. Unlocking Marital Bliss.
Once again, thank you for coming back. You're still watching Unlocking Marital Bliss with me, Cyrus Rod. And before we took a break, I was still having Brian talk to us and breaking this down. We're dealing with the edition, the man edition, you know, the lockdown man's edition, the husbands. How are you handling home? How are things happening? What's going on? How are you making it? And before we took the break, Brian, you were still
Illustrating, yes.
illustrating all
A
these,
man in
you know.
lockdown right now.
Yeah, the man in lockdown.
So he wakes up in the morning. Remember, the resources are being depleted.
Yeah,
He's thinking about the resources.
yeah.
His peace is being troubled right now. At that moment, he doesn't want to hear so many things out there. He doesn't want to hear about the sugar going down. He doesn't want to hear about asking him the next meal. He doesn't want to hear so many things. So he rises up in the morning.
Before you go,
Yes.
why doesn't he want to hear?
Because his security is being depleted. His source of joy is no longer
money.
Christ. It's the money that I've been
Not
making.
Christ.
The status. His
Yes.
BMW is parked in the compound. It can't go anywhere. So what
So
happens?
now the little he had, which are the resources, are being depleted.
And we're not talking about the lady's finances. Now, I'm giving you a typical man. We are going through the day or the days.
Yes, yes.
So we both have Zoom meetings because we're probably both working.
Okay.
So here I am on my Zoom meeting. I hear my wife's Zoom meeting and the boss is saying, "We appreciate you, Madam Kathy. You are so amazing. We are increasing your salary from 700 to 1.5. And he's on Zoom meeting. So his concentration goes to your Zoom meeting. Because besides, he didn't know you were earning 700 at first. Because every time he asks for something at home, you don't have the money. It's the guy supposed to bring
Cover
in,
it.
to cover everything. So that typical kind of man is frustrated at that moment.
But why don't women open up to you? Why wouldn't your wife open up to you and
Look,
say, I make 700K? Why?
Ag-
Before you go further,
again-
why wouldn't
Again,
the
I'm
woman
going to
open
say, marriage is a cultural disruptor. Our culture has taught us, the men,
Yeah,
I am the provider.
yeah.
I am the final say in the home. All the money, everything pertaining to that house,
You're the beginning.
I am the beginning and the end.
Yes,
Every resource that comes in, I am the one supposed to have most of the resources coming in.
yes.
If you're bringing in, probably do 15%. That's okay. I am doing 75%.
Okay.
Now, here's a scenario he gets to know she actually has money. Remember, the other time he didn't care because of culture.
Culture.
He didn't care. He had the money. Now he cares. He's hearing 1.5. You still give me a list in the morning. In the morning, we are both in lockdown. But you're still giving me
The list.
the list. Because you're still working. Because on Zoom, I'm hearing they're giving you
1.5.
1.5. So who's going to handle?
Salary increment.
Yes, who is going to handle this list? And because you've taught her over the years, I'm the one who handles the list.
Yeah.
Send it to me.
And now you're backtracking.
Now you're backtracking. You're back to square one since we're in lockdown.
But you said you would be taking care of the list.
Now you see how conflict starts. So now I've just had that. We are continuing the day. That's
Okay.
like in the early hours of the day.
Okay.
So I get on phone. I need to tell my buddies about this revelation I've just had, because I don't, as a man, you avoid confrontation. You are always avoiding conflict. So
Very
the
dangerous.
best thing for me to do right there is talk to someone else who understands me, my buddy, who is not going to tell me, hey, go back and talk to her. No. He's going to say, go ahead.
Let's run.
My wife does the same thing. She's as silly as that woman you have there. You know, that's the kind
Then
of...
you can feel, yeah.
Then you can feel, yes. So what are we going to do? So here you are on the phone, you're chatting, and then you bust out and laugh. Because the other guy said, my wife is as silly as yours. So you bust out and laugh. So your wife is asking you, what are you laughing at? Let me see. So I don't want you to have my phone. You know, that still maybe a major calls you, or someone calls you. And so who is that? Man, you're invading my space. I have my space. Now that's when conflict happens, right there. She starts saying, I need to see who those people, why are you talking about me? And then you say, hey, did you tell me you earn 700?
Oh, now you're trying to fight back. Instead of dealing with this phone issue, now you're shifting it to the 700 stuff that you literally...
That's how we deal.
This
Remember,
is
I'm
very
representing...
wrong. I know you're representing these viewers.
Yes.
These viewers, you guys, Brand is here representing you and telling me how you guys are handling the lockdown. We are having a problem right now that we must solve
I
today.
have my space.
What do you mean your space?
Now, let me just add another thing right there. So all of a sudden...
Now look at you guys. Now you're bringing in, rather than dealing with the Mabel who has sent a message, now you're talking about the 700K
increment,
so that you may not confront or you may not face the Mabel.
Remember, we are avoiding conflict.
You avoid conflict.
So in that moment, she walks out, goes to your laptop, because now she's inquisitive.
Because you're not open enough.
Taps in your password because she knows it. And then she sees you just bought a piece of land, you're ordering 2 cars, you sent some money to Mabel and some money to Richard, and then she comes back in the room. Now, this is the early morning of the day. We haven't even gone to the evening.
You're just in the morning.
That's when I remember I need to jog. I need to step out of this house.
Now
So that's when I'm quiet. She's talking. Everything that comes in goes out. Everything that comes in goes out. I need space. Put on my jogging clothes. Go out. But I need to go with my phone because I need to call my buddies and tell them, hey, there's fire in the house.
Now, what kind of man are you? What kind of man are you? For every conflict, you want to run.
Let me tell you.
This image that has been created of a man is more of a coward.
I mean, let me tell you this.
Now you're going jogging.
If I called, not my father, I'm just giving a scenario.
Yes.
Now, if I called my father in context,
yes,
who has had his wife, my mother, subdued for about 20 years.
Yeah.
And I called him and said, Daddy, look, I just, I bought land. It's my money, first of all. It's my money. I sent some money to my friends. And, Mabel sent me a message. And, I mean, she wants to ask me everything. And your dad, because he's also in the culture.
Culture
for him,
is how to subdue
he's
the
more
woman.
in the culture because he's closer than you.
Yes.
He's the one who taught you a bit of the culture you have. So he's going to say, hey, my son, can you make your way home here? We need to have a conversation. And so you make your way home and he tells you, look, you see your mother there?
Yeah.
Ask her how many times she has gone in my laptop. I never touch his stuff.
Oh, God.
You see what I mean?
I see this culture thing.
So in lockdown, what I was going to talk about distance is that distance grows because I need to protect my space. It doesn't grow because of lockdown, but because of the dysfunctionality that was already there,
That existed.
existed.
And that's what we want to face.
Yes. First of all, we say to ourselves, these wives take our peace. Secondly, they are spenders of our money. Third, you can't get any information across. Because remember, in our culture, when a man speaks, listen, take it in, and then
And
implement.
when a woman speaks,
No, that is like touching my mouth. Inside my mouth. The Buganda culture, puts it that way for the elderly. Do not speak back. So in essence, if I am bringing in more money, I have enslaved everyone, including the children.
but that's not you being a husband.
You see,
That's you being nothing but a tyrant.
but you see, in the outlook, we're looking great. Because my wife drives a car,
You drive.
I drive a car. When we come to functions, we come together.
But today, you're in
Now
lockdown.
we are in lockdown. We are having this back and forth.
Yes.
I don't have any relief. Relief for me is going out to work. Come back when you come. Or maybe send you some and say, go buy yourself some things. And then probably you're not going to talk about the things I've bought, the people who've sent me messages, the other things that are included in there. Because I have bewitched you with some mobile money.
That is so true. You're manipulating the woman
Exactly.
with mobile money.
Exactly.
You're too weak. You cannot deal or face a situation. So you'd rather manipulate. You'd rather play those games.
Now, Pastor Cyrus, I'm in lockdown. I don't have the money to play with. The only thing I have is my anger. My anger creates a certain space.
The
If you
Bible says anger lies in the laps of
of a
fools.
fool, yes,
You know?
yes,
Now you say you use your anger as your weapon. But using your anger as your weapon reveals more of your folly.
but they don't know that. We don't know that.
And that's what I want the men those that are viewing us to understand.
We think now. I cannot come to you, Pastor Cyrus, after watching this show. I'm just saying, as a
Yes,
man,
yes.
because you're telling me this is revealing my weakness. This is revealing folly, because I want someone to massage
Your ego.
my ego as a man.
In other words, tell you what, oh, you just did the best thing.
Yes,
You're amazing.
you're amazing.
In other words, even when I see you walk off the cliff, oh, you're the best thing that ever happened. You know how to walk.
Let's continue.
You see, that is not marriage at all.
Let me continue the rest of the day. Now, this is day one in lockdown.
Oh, God.
All of a sudden in the afternoon, okay, you managed to make some
Now you
kind
have
of
this
peace.
opportunity where your father is telling you how to,
Yes.
do all this kind of stuff,
Yeah.
teaching you how to be a man. But in
Uh-huh.
actual sense, he's teaching you how to fail as a man.
So he tells you, go back home, tell her it's okay, you are sorry, just to keep peace. Because when we're getting
Just to do what?
when we are getting married, the people talking to us tell us the word sorry is a magic word.
Oh, God.
Sorry is a magic word. It does everything. So you go home and tell her, my dear, I don't want us to fight. We are in one space. We are in lockdown. I am sorry for what I didn't tell you. I'm sorry for everything that you've discovered.
So this is the reason why most men will say sorry and they don't even understand what they say.
No.
They don't even mean it.
It's a magic
And-
word.
Oh, my God. Now,
It's
now
a
your
magic-
men better listen very carefully. I know you're using your magic word, sorry. It shouldn't be a magic word anymore.
Yes. And you see, the difference with us and the ladies is that they will ask you for details. You're sorry for what?
Yes.
What are you apologizing for? What are the measures we are going to take so that it does not happen again?
Now, how do you respond?
You don't have time for that. Quickly, because some of these ladies are so intimidated over the years. They are so intimidated. Quickly, you
You've
switch.
literally subdued them.
You switch in and say, what are we going to have for lunch? Because I'm thinking we could buy some things, go together to the market, just there.
No,
and
but
buy.
I was asking, what are you sorry for?
That's what I'm saying. He quickly switches and says, what are we having for lunch? What have you planned? So because the lady is so intimidated already, she's not going to
Yes.
pursue what
The
are you sorry
reason-
for.
For your sorry.
So then she'll go like, if possible, we could have some meat. No, 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 no. I don't have that money. You see, that's the problem with you. Everything is about money. So now you see, you're already continuing on the belittling
of your wife.
of your wife. So he says, okay, whatever we have, we could have. So you go to the market, come back. So there's some kind of peace.
False.
Yes. So in the evening, she goes like, love, there's a dress I saw up in the... These other dresses have kind of, they are tight on me because of now the lockdown, we've been feeding. And then you go like, look at you. You're in lockdown. You are asking me for a dress. I don't understand how you're thinking. Now remember, you're doing all this to bring her into...
Literally, you want to subdue her.
to be a subject.
Yes.
You want her to remain
Subdued.
throughout the
And
lockdown.
that's when you think I'm a man.
Exactly.
Now, this is something we really need to deal with. There are two things a man can do. There's no middle ground. You either love a woman or you control a woman. Two things.
Two things.
You either love her or you control her.
Now,
And
lockdown
if you're-
reveals that.
Lockdown reveals.
Yeah.
And if you're not loving her, you're controlling her.
Exactly.
And if you're not controlling her, you're loving her.
Yes.
Now, there is no middle ground. There is no neutral ground, actually. So any man who does the things you're doing is actually controlling the woman.
Exactly.
Controlling. That's why I love what you've brought out.
Yes.
Culture will tell you you need to subdue her.
Exactly.
You need to bring her. She shouldn't ask such questions. Everything they teach a man to do as a husband is targeting, literally subduing the woman.
That's why you hear a lot of beating
That's why you hear a lot of
in
beating.
lockdown.
Yes.
It, you know, in the...
Because you can't face a situation, you beat.
Well, it's not because you can't face the situation. It's
You
because
don't
the
want to.
woman has decided to speak up.
And you can't stand it.
We can't have, you know, I leave for work, come back and I tell you what to do and you do it. Now we are in the same space. I'm trying to tell you what needs to be done. And you're saying, look, we have 42 days. Let's do this. So I'm thinking, what kind of woman?
You want to wear pants here.
Yes. You're not hearing what I'm saying. You know, so that's where the beating increases. That's why you see in lockdown, people opt to live apart. I want to just get out of this house. Because the other time we're avoiding confrontations, we're avoiding conflict. I was the man. You were subdued. Now
And
here
now-
we are, you are also raising issues. Huh? Okay, if you think you're a man, let me walk out of this house and see how you'll handle.
You're intimidating her.
Exactly. You're bringing her
threatening
back.
her so that she may be subdued.
Exactly.
That is not loving a woman. Oh man, you guys really
But you
need
see,
to.
Rod Cyrus, I'm talking about a man who is in that aspect. But then let me tell you about, still in the same context, what we feel is a challenge for us.
What do you feel?
Well, here we are in lockdown. We are under budget. We are now under budget because our resources need to take us through 42 days.
Yes.
In instance, maybe I was self-employed doing my own projects.
Yes.
So the capital and the profits are within my reach.
Yes.
So the list doesn't change. The wife is still sending the list.
list.
And most of them, it's not through word of mouth. It comes through the child. She's in the kitchen. She sends the kid.
But you have been avoiding her all this time.
Now-
So you created this scenario that you cannot really talk.
That
So now
doesn't-
you bring in the kids.
That doesn't register at that moment. So the kid is coming to the room and saying, Daddy, Mommy has just said give her 50,000. She wants to send the maid to the market. Tell Mommy to come to the room. You see the scenario? So Mommy comes to the room and you tell her, break down for me
The
this thing,
50K.
the 50K. Now remember, the other time she probably would buy the food at home without asking you. Now this time, because now she's not working as well, and you probably have some resources, she's asking. Now our challenge in lockdown, some of us men, is the list never reduces.
Why do you want it to reduce?
Now we don't think about that. Yet in essence, the children at home, The wife is at home. The maid is at home.
Exactly.
You know.
But then now
So
you
the
want the
expenses-
list to go down?
I mean, because my resources are going down. So we need to learn to budget. Secondly, that's when your wife wants to pick a fight with the neighbor. The neighbor you keep talking to when you're going. Hey, good morning, sir. How are you,
Yeah.
Sebo? Now his jackfruit suddenly is protruding in your compound. Now I'm talking about a man who is looking at us and saying, you're not talking about the things that we go through. So I'm talking about the things they go through.
Yes.
So wife comes in the room and says, you're on a Zoom meeting and says, boss, I want to talk to you. You pause, you say, okay, wait a minute. Let me come back. What's the problem? Neighbor's jackfruit is protruding in our compound. Can you come and tell him to cut it down? Because it's bringing leaves in our compound. Now you've had this neighbor for 14 years. You've never had a fight. Because your wife goes in the morning, comes back in the evening. Now you're both there. The lady wants me to pick a fight with the neighbor.
Now, you define it as picking a fight.
Uh-huh.
Is that really picking a fight or dealing with the issues? Because the branch is pouring leaves on my side.
I am here
We
to
need-
tell you what the men are thinking.
Yes,
It's
yes.
picking a
And
fight.
I'm here to I'm here to make sure I try to show the men that is not how things are.
Yeah, because we can't resolve the issues. We can't. Now, the only time we are communicating is when I'm instructing you on something or you're instructing me on something.
Yeah.
Now, before long, she comes in and tells you, I'm tired of this maid. We need to fire her. She doesn't respect me. And now you're thinking, madam, you want me to go and talk to the maid? What's the whole point? In fact, most men will say, fire her.
But Brian, do you know why I love the illustrations you're giving,
Yes.
the examples you're giving?
Mm.
And most men don't even understand why a woman will begin acting the way she's acting.
Yes.
But when you analyze those moves,
Yes.
it is a hunger for attention.
That's exactly what I'm driving at.
Go ahead.
So you're thinking, now what do you want me to tell her? Initially, when we brought her, you told me, don't talk to the maid. I'm the one who deals with the maid. Now here you are, you're reporting the maid to me. What do you want me to do? You understand? Now this is the space.
I need attention.
This is the space when your children, mom is tired, go to daddy. Now you're thinking, I have a report to do. You're sending the kids to me. What are you doing? You know? So then you realize your wife is actually not smart. The jokes of office where people laugh before even the joke ends, you have to explain to her.
Yeah.
You see, this is what happened to, man.
Now, do you know, that is when the man is being built right now.
Uh-huh.
You're coming down
So, but
to
remember,
practice love.
the typical man, distance is growing.
Yeah, they don't want to grow.
Distance is growing between, because the dysfunction already happening in that home before lockdown is compounded now. It's bigger.
And we need to stop it.
This is hell. I am not in the right space. I need to get out of here. Then we come to the chores. Work in the home. Remember, we are in lockdown. So the other time you're used to telling the maid, do this, do this, do that. Now your wife is feeling, as a Christian, we need to give her a break. Spend time with the kids, dress them up, play with them, give her some time so that at least she can attend to all of us, because we're now eating more food.
Yeah. now this is where I want you. We're closing in now.
Yes.
I want you to face the reality.
Mm-hmm.
A man
Mm-hmm.
during this lockdown,
Uh-huh.
it's time to tell the difference
Mm-hmm.
between loving your wife and
And
controlling your wife.
Exactly. That's the two things we've been trying to define. I've not even
Yes.
talked about the sex bit.
Yeah, you know, you've not even brought about the sex bit. Our time is running out. Looks like when it's so sweet, then the time just flies.
Yes.
Now, the loving and the controlling, because everything you're bringing in, even when you mention the sex bit,
Yes.
in 10 seconds, what does the sex bit do
Well-
before you begin summing this up? Controlling,
I'm just going
loving.
to use a sentence.
Yes.
The demand is higher and the supply is low,
Oh, come on.
because the attention is not being given equally. I mean, I'm just saying that.
Yes.
As the typical man is thinking.
Yes.
But the demand is high, the supply is low. What do I mean? The demand for sex is higher
On the man's side.
on the man's side. The
Uh-huh.
supplier
Is not willing.
is not willing because she has issues.
And then if you could literally help her, love her, all these issues can
You
evaporate.
see, we've been told as men that sex calms the storm.
What do you mean calms the storm? It's a lie. Hey, you dudes, it's a lie. It doesn't calm the storm. The storm just keeps brewing within. And the day it erupts, it's going to be a volcano. It's going to be a hurricane.
Exactly. But we've been told
It's a lie.
you can't fight when you're having sex.
It's a lie. That's abuse. That's control.
That's why I said I didn't even go there.
We need to learn how to love a woman.
Yeah, but you see, in our culture, it's not been taught. We've
now,
not
now,
adopted
now let's
it.
teach.
Yeah.
Let's teach.
It's
Unlocking marital bliss.
it's not been
Let's teach.
adopted.
You wake up,
Mhm.
you go help with the dishes,
Yes.
bathe the children.
Bathe the children.
Uh-huh.
Ask if they need be. Ask, because some men, you've not been in the home setting, you've been working to and fro,
Yes.
but you're not a bad man.
Yes.
So you need to learn to ask. Break down and say, is there anything that you'd like me to help you with?
Thank you.
And that doesn't take the
That
manhood
is
away.
making you a man.
That doesn't take the manhood away.
Yes.
In fact, it brings bliss
Yes.
in a home.
Yes.
So if you have resources, it's easy in that time and say, look, this is how the business has been running.
You begin opening up to your wife.
We've been doing this. I'm sorry I didn't tell you this, but now,
I
you know,
love
your
that.
wife is not going to be bitter when you come in that attitude and say, I've not told you this, but this is the thing. I'm opening up.
She feels safe.
She feels safe. This is the time to work together and say, now, what can we do during lockdown? Because our works are not working. We
Yes.
need to do something together.
And you know, because you get to love her and stop avoiding her
Uh-huh.
and reach out to her,
Exactly.
open yourself up to her, you're not losing manhood,
No, you're not losing.
but you're manifesting manhood.
Exactly.
Then these are the problems of seeing her as a burden,
Mm.
bringing the, oh, we don't have this, do this, do
Yes,
this.
yes.
She will not even do all that
No.
because now she knows exactly who you are
Uh-huh.
and how much
How
is
much
going
we are
on.
spending.
Yes, how much is being spent.
Yeah.
She will actually be able to work with you to help out. And then it will not be a problem anymore.
Uh-huh. Make sure don't back. Don't get angry. Avoid these extreme emotions. Because the wrath of man, James 1:20,
Does not bring the righteousness
it
of
does
God.
not bring the righteousness
In
of
other
God.
words, it doesn't bring the love.
No, it doesn't
the
bring us.
patience,
Yes.
the kindness.
Yes. And then also avoid judging, because women like to judge. When my wife comes at me like this, it's already a judgment on my part that, hey, she has taken a verdict. So let me defend myself. Sometimes or many times it's understanding that counts. Understand where she's coming from. Understand what she's saying. And then respond.
And actually, the reason many of the men will say, "Oh, she's judging me," it's simply because we're apart. The distance that has been
Yes.
created.
Yes.
So now you don't even understand when she's presenting an issue.
Yes.
You don't even understand when she has something to say.
Exactly.
All you think is they're against me. They're
Yes.
against me.
And then
like,
one more thing I need to say.
mm,
When we make a promise
mm,
on talking about an issue,
yes,
make sure you make it a point
and deal with it.
and come back and talk about it.
Now, this is what most of the men have been doing in lockdown. When he makes a promise, when your wife comes and tells you, oh, we're going to talk about this, that's when you get a nail clipper
Uh-huh.
and go to the yard,
Uh-huh.
and then you begin mowing your yard with a
With the
nail,
nail
clipper.
clipper. Wow.
Because
You need to take time away.
you need to take, you,
We
you
are avoiding.
are avoiding.
We are good at that.
Oh, man, our time has run out. Brian, this has been just so beautiful.
Yes.
I want you to take a minute, just in fact 10 seconds,
Yeah.
and reach out, speak to the men out there, get them out of this mess. Let them survive the lockdown, not complain and grumble in this lockdown.
Well, the man watching me right now and you're thinking, I've lost it. I've lost my home. Here's the thing. Love your wife. Love that woman. You know, love is patient, it's kind. If you don't understand what I'm saying, go to 1 Corinthians chapter 13. It's patient, it's kind. It does not keep a record of wrong. You take time and understand the woman because you are the one who chose her.
Thank you so much. That is Brian. And hey, we're locking this down. I want you to get this. Love your wife. The only two things you can do as a man. You either love her or you control her. And those of you that are controlling her, you want to know why they're controlling her? It's the absence of peace in your home. It's the chaos in your home. You want to know whether you're loving her? You're having a blast. You're having bliss. So now the choice is yours. Love her, control her. I encourage you, love her. Thank you for tuning in to Unlocking Marital Bliss with Miss Iris Road, and I'll see you next time. Never forget, marriage is easy, ignorance is hard.
Unlocking marital bliss.